Call of Duty World War II starts on a US ship heading to France for the Normandy invasion. On board we meet a group of soldiers playing cards. Zussman, Daniels, Stiles, and Aiello serve together long enough to become good friends. They serve under Sarge Pierson. Then we hear Davis briefing the soldiers while Allied forces head for Normandy. Boys get on the boat and D-Day begins. Before the boat even touches the sand, there are already casualties, and their boat gets hit by another, so half of them are dead before they even took a peek on the horizon. Daniels manages to stay alive and gets picked up by Turner, who tells him to pick up other soldiers' rifles and just advance. Daniels manages to find Zussman and the remains of his squad, and they push on German trenches and bunkers. Inside one of them, Zussman and Daniels get ambushed by two soldiers, and during a hand-to-hand combat, Zussman gets stabbed and badly wounded. Daniels manages to kill the enemies and carries his friend through the battlefield until they reach other US soldiers, where Zussman receives medical help, while Turner orders Daniels to join him on a task to eliminate GPF cannon by the nearby farmhouse. When Daniels gets back to the platoon, Zussman feels better and they make a pact to stay alive till the end of the war. 7 weeks later, Allied forces are pushing inland to secure the Marine. Daniels and his friends are there. Zussman is back from the hospital and Turner explains to the squad how important it is to secure Marine. Before they leave, Pierson tells Zussman that his wound is not healed enough, but Zussman says he is good and impresses Pierson with his attitude. Everyone gets on tanks and begins the mission, but soon enemy Stukas show up and drop bombs on them. Soldiers are forced to get off the road, and Turner orders the squad to capture German flak guns and use them to eliminate the Stukas. They manage to circle enemies through the forest and take the AA guns. After that, Turner orders Pierson to take his men and find an overwatch position to soften up the German artillery positions so the Shermans can perform a full attack on their positions. On their way, they witness hanged civilians. After pushing back enemies, Davies shows up and explains that Charlie Company is under assault near the church and orders to give them support. They use jeeps to get there ASAP and use the machine guns on them to kill the Germans around the church. Next morning, they plan an assault on the Marine. Daniels is haunted by nightmares. When he wakes up, he explains to Zussman that he keeps dreaming about how he and his older brother were hunting wolves that used to kill their cattle. When Paul gets cornered, Red is too scared to help his brother, but that day he swore to himself he would never let his brother down again. But now he feels the pressure not to let Pierson down. In the morning, they raid the church and manage to break inside. It looks empty, but it turns out it's an ambush. US soldiers fight their way to the tower, and while they reach it, they cover Zussman and a few others who try to get through the courtyard and take out the flak guns. Unfortunately, one of the flak guns begins to target the tower and it begins to collapse. Daniels and Pierson barely make it out alive. German soldiers surround the courtyard and Pierson orders everyone to defend the position. Daniels marks the spots for the P-47s, and though they are heavily outnumbered, they manage to defend long enough before they hit enemy positions. Turns out, Zussman managed to get back alive, and Turner did a great job, but Pierson is still not very impressed. About a month later, France was almost liberated from Nazis, and US soldiers are rolling toward Paris. Daniels and his squad are teaming up with British Special Forces. Turns out, there is a German train carrying V-2 rockets. It will be refueling near Ardennes, so that opens a chance to attack it. Agents Vivian and Crowley from the SOE lead them as they have been working with the resistance and know the terrain. They are working on a tight schedule as they need to reach the train before it leaves. They sneak on the train station to avoid getting detected by enemies. They secure the place, but they get spotted by one of the guards, and Germans raise an alarm. Squad performs a quick attack on the building, taking enemies by surprise. But the train leaves, so they need to pursue it using a car. Daniels and Zussman manage to go after it, and they use the opportunity to crash the train using their car. Luckily, they manage to survive the crash. A member of French resistance shows up and helps them to escape the crash site and regroup with their squad. Turns out resistance managed to secure documents that will help them infiltrate a Nazi stronghold in Paris. Daniels and his squad get to Paris, where Allied forces prepare to liberate the city. Crowley and Rousseau, aka that girl that helped them on the crash site, plan to pose as Nazi officers to infiltrate the garrison. This Heinrich guy who runs the place killed the Rousseau family while looking for her, so this one is personal. Crowley's job is to blow up the gate from inside. They pretend they were sent to secure Heinrich's safe evacuation to Berlin. They get inside using fake documents. The explosives are in a briefcase. They need to find Officer Fischer, who is their undercover contact inside. They switch suitcases and Fischer instructs Rousseau how to find a way to plant them on a gate. She also sneaks into Heinrich's office and tries to search it, but he finds her inside and gets suspicious. He tries to catch her lying and acts like Hans Landa, and turns out he recognized her right from the beginning. He attacks Rousseau, but she manages to push him off and stab him with a statue that fell off his desk during their struggle. Now she needs to act quickly before anyone finds his body. She tries to reach Crowley, but is stopped by one of the soldiers who wants to check her briefcase. Luckily, Crowley approaches him from behind before he manages to alarm anyone. They sneak outside and plant the explosives. Pierson and his squad wait outside, and when they spot the fireworks, the assault begins. With the help of French resistance members, they manage to reach the building, get inside and secure the place. After pushing back the German counterattack soldiers, and Marquis celebrate the liberation of Paris. Months after liberation of Paris, the 1st Infantry Division is in the heart of the bombed-out city of Aachen, the first city in Germany attacked by the Allies. Daniels receives a letter from Hazel, but Stiles warns him not to open it, as he believes Hazel wrote it to let him know she is leaving him. The next morning, Turner's platoon attacked the Aachen theater in the center of the city. Daniels, Aiello and Pierson run to the theater and use a field phone to make contact with Perez and the 745th Tank Battalion. Perez and Rapson rerouted from their mission to save Turner's platoon. On their way, they are attacked by a Panzer IV, which destroys Rapson's tank and kills the crew. After destroying them, Perez finally arrives at the theater and clears out the Germans, securing the square and saving Turner's platoon. The platoon then continued moving forward to Hotel Allendorf, the last German stronghold in the city. They are attacked by machine guns, forcing them to go through ruined buildings. They reach the hotel and surprise German infantry by breaking through one of the walls with a rocket launcher. Once the lobby of the hotel is cleared, they move to the basement, where they find a group of civilians hiding. They are greeted by Erika and her young sister Anna. Erika begs for help since they have run out of supplies, and although Turner wants to get them out, Pierson is reluctant, arguing that it was not their mission. They remember that there is a German truck in front of the hotel, which they will use to safely evacuate the civilians. Zussman communicates with Erika in German to calm her down, to the surprise of his squadmates. He reveals that his family is in fact German Jewish. This makes Pierson suspicious of Zussman again, being mad that he didn't tell them he could speak German earlier. Daniels and Aiello start the truck before German reinforcements arrive and drive it to the front of the hotel. As civilians board the truck, Erika starts panicking when she realizes Anna has run back to the basement. Daniels heads out alone to find her. He runs to the basement but is surprised by German troops. He tackles them in a melee fight and locks himself in the basement, where he finds Anna hiding in a closet. However, the rest of the German infantry tracks him down and looks for him in the basement, forcing him to sneak his way out with Anna. When he reaches the hotel lobby, there is already a raging gunfight between the platoon and German reinforcements. Daniels makes it through the war zone and returns Anna to Erika. Turner wants his squad to guard the truck until it's completely ready. Pierson and Zussman argue that it is too risky, as they might draw fire from German troops, so the truck is probably safer with no US infantry near it. Turner dismisses this and orders everyone to keep alongside the truck. They are soon attacked by a German patrol, which opens fire on them. Most of the bullets end up in the back of the truck, and Erika collapses on the ground dead. Pierson finally orders the truck driver to go, and he drives the civilians away. Turner watches the truck drive away in silence, realizing that Pierson was in fact right about leaving the civilians alone. With secured Aachen, Allied forces have opened a western corridor to the Rhine. Davies is angry about going out of order and rescuing those civilians and wants to know who made the call. Turner and Pierson both take the blame. Their new mission is to clear the way for the convoy to the Rhine. Daniels finally opens the letter and turns out his girlfriend is pregnant. Later, Davis and Turner brief the soldiers on their next mission to capture Hill 493. The 1st platoon links up with the 2nd platoon at a bridge on the 1st Infantry's perimeter. After planting several mines at the front end of the bridge, SS troops attack. Americans fall back to the rear of the bridge and a Panzer IV appears. Daniels uses rocket launchers to destroy the tank, causing the SS troops to retreat. Pierson and half of 1st platoon go north to Hill 493, while Turner and the rest of the platoon, Daniels included, follow a river east to cover Pierson's flank. Turner's group finds and attacks a German mortar position. Turner and Daniels follow the Germans, but it turns out to be a trap. German artillery begins to destroy the forest around the group as they try to escape up a hill. Daniels is hit by a blast and falls down the hill unconscious. He hallucinates and sees his brother Paul encouraging him to get back up. He takes M1911 off the ground and goes searching for other members of the platoon. He manages to sneak through the fog, avoiding Germans, and finds Turner. Together, they proceed towards the river to find the rest of their squad, who are fighting against Germans, entrenched in a house with a fortified machine gun nest. Daniels flanks the house and takes out all the Germans. Turner and the squad regroup at a bridge near the house, but SS troops with a half-track begin a full-on assault of the mill. The 1st platoon holds them off, destroying the half-track. Turner decides to wait at the mill for Pierson's squad before assaulting Hill 493. Turner's squad establishes a perimeter around the captured mill at the base of Hill 493. Daniels takes a moment to ask Turner about what happened back at Kasserine Pass, but their conversation is cut short when Stiles receives a transmission from command. The military is preparing to launch an assault on Hill 493, and Pierson, along with his squad and the 2nd platoon, is already there, much to Turner's frustration and anger. Determined, Turner rallies his men and moves them out toward the hill. Turner, Daniels, and Stiles begin the climb, eventually finding Aiello wounded with a bullet lodged in his right leg. Aiello explains that the rest of the unit is further ahead, so the squad pushes on, joined by others from the 1st Infantry Division. At one point, they spot Pierson's squad trapped under fire from another MG nest. Turner demands an explanation, but Pierson insists the priority is escorting an engineer named Parker, who needs to plant a pole charge against the nest. The squad lays down covering fire while Parker makes the attempt, but he detonates the charge too early and is killed in the blast. With the nest destroyed, the team pushes into the bunker, where Turner confronts Pierson over his decisions. Pierson reminds everyone that artillery guns are still bombarding the convoy below. The squad destroys one gun, but when they try to take down the 2nd gun, a Tiger II tank suddenly arrives with German reinforcements. Daniels manages to disable the tank's engine using his last thermite grenade, but is thrown back by the impact. The Tiger begins rolling toward him, only to be halted when one of its treads breaks. Perez arrives with his own tank in support, but it is destroyed by the Tiger's main cannon, forcing Perez and his crew to retreat. 2 German soldiers emerge from the wrecked Tiger, but Turner quickly kills both. Turner then rushes to help Daniels, but is shot in the back by the Tiger's commander. As the officer closes in, Daniels grabs Turner's holstered Enfield number 2 and kills the commander. When the rest of the squad arrives, Daniels drags the badly wounded Turner into the trenches while fending off German attackers. Inside, Turner insists the squad leave him behind so he can cover their escape. Pierson hesitates but ultimately orders the retreat, dragging a furious Daniels away with Zussman as Turner makes his final stand. Turner fights bravely but is cut down by advancing German troops. The following day, Daniels tries to give Pierson Turner's pistol, suggesting he might want to keep it. Pierson refuses, telling Daniels that they are in a new reality now, his reality. He promises he will not shrink from his responsibilities and promotes Daniels to corporal as his new second-in-command. Pierson makes it clear Daniels must support him completely and that every man under him will be expected to do the same. Anything less would be dereliction of duty, 6 weeks after Turner was killed, the platoon is digging into the Ardennes forest in Belgium. Daniels is concerned that under the leadership of Pierson, they might not leave to see the end of the war. As the squad gives a toast to Turner, a drunk Pierson shows up and is pissed that they still think about their former leader. Daniels, Zussman, Aiello, and Stiles struggle against the biting cold, while Pierson orders Daniels to resupply the eastern flank with an ammo box. After completing the delivery, Daniels spots nearby German troops and picks them off with his sniper rifle while soldiers work to unjam their machine gun. Once the threat is neutralized, Daniels returns to the common tent, where Aiello introduces him to an African-American soldier named Howard, much to Daniels' surprise. Howard warns that the Germans plan to ambush the convoy. Daniels suggests calling in air support, but Pierson dismisses the idea, explaining that Allied aircraft are already stretched thin. When the convoy arrives, German artillery suddenly opens fire, destroying trucks and killing soldiers as the squad scrambles for cover. They regroup with Pierson, who warns that enemy tanks are moving in. Howard proposes using a radio at the old command post to call for air support. The squad fights to defend Howard as he restores the radio, after which Daniels successfully makes contact with Rover Joe to request an airstrike. The call reaches the 509th Fighter Squadron, who are already engaged with the Luftwaffe while escorting bombers. After gaining air superiority, the squadron diverts to support the 1st Infantry Division. Daniels, Zussman, Aiello, and Howard retreat to the main line, holding their ground with Allied forces until the fighters arrive. When they finally do, Daniels uses red smoke grenades to mark targets. The squad regroups with Pierson, who orders Daniels to call in another strike, this time against tanks dangerously close to friendly lines. Daniels protests, arguing the strike would risk their own men, but Pierson impatiently snatches the radio and calls it in himself. Zussman remarks that Pierson has lost control as he and Daniels dive into cover. Huddled in a foxhole with Aiello and Stiles, the squad fends off German infantry until a tank bears down on their position. At the last moment, P-47s roar in, bombing Pierson's marked target. The shockwave knocks the squad unconscious, and when they come to, Howard pointedly asks Daniels how long Pierson has been unstable. Daniels shrugs it off, saying the matter is above his pay grade. 1st Infantry Division escorts a group of captured German soldiers. When one prisoner asks for water, Zussman begins to hand over his canteen, only for Pierson to storm in and berate him for showing kindness to the enemy. Daniels steps in to intervene, sparking an argument between the two. During the commotion, the prisoner uses Zussman's canteen to strike Pierson and attempts an escape, but Daniels tackles him before he can get away. A search of the prisoner reveals a piece of paper which Zussman translates from German, detailing plans to destroy the last bridge into the Rhine at Remagen. The squad sets an ambush for an incoming German convoy. They use one of the trucks for an assault on a nearby airbase. Daniels and Zussman are dropped over outside the base, infiltrating it quietly to provide overwatch. They cover the assault, helping destroy a truck packed with explosives. Moving to a tower, Daniels and Zussman clear it. However, as Pierson's men fall back, a German tank fires on the tower, collapsing it and knocking Daniels and Zussman unconscious. They awaken surrounded by German soldiers rounding up American prisoners. Zussman is loaded onto a truck, but despite Pierson's squad killing some of the captors, the truck drives away with him still inside. Daniels finds Zussman's dropped saint, Michael Pendant, and rushes for Pierson's jeep to give chase, but Pierson stops him, ordering him to stick to the mission. Daniels defies him, breaks free, and speeds off after the truck. He manages to catch up, but a German Kübelwagen rams his jeep, sending both vehicles crashing. Injured from the wreck, Daniels kills one surviving soldier, but the truck carrying Zussman escapes. Exhausted and wounded, Daniels collapses. Pierson arrives soon after and condemns him for disobeying orders. Daniels demands a court-martial, but Pierson coldly suggests desertion is a capital offense and prepares to execute him. Before he can, Stiles and Aiello intervene. Instead, Pierson expels Daniels from the 1st platoon and walks away, leaving Stiles and Aiello to help Daniels back to camp, consoling him for at least trying to save Zussman. 12 hours later, Zussman and the captured Americans are sent to a processing camp in Bad Orb, Germany. The German commander Metz attempts to single out Jewish POWs. To protect himself, Zussman discards his dog tags. When Metz threatens and executes prisoners who refuse to identify Jews, Zussman defiantly declares that they are all Americans. Metz responds by brutally beating him before ordering the prisoners onto a train for work. 8 weeks later, Daniels lies in a field hospital recovering from his wounds. General Davis visits to inform him that Zussman has not been found. Daniels bitterly accuses Pierson of not caring for his men, citing his failure at Kasserine Pass. Davis corrects him, explaining that Pierson once disobeyed an order to retreat because he refused to abandon trapped men, but lost even more soldiers as a result. The guilt has haunted him ever since. Davis also confirms that Daniels will face a court-martial, though the intelligence captured from the prisoner may count in his favor. After Davis departs, Daniels dreams of Texas. 2 weeks after his discharge, he returns home with his brother Paul, where Hazel greets him and introduces their newborn child. Later, he and Paul go hunting, though Daniels feels conflicted, uncertain if coming home was worth the cost of losing Zussman. In the present, Daniels looks down at Zussman Street, recalling their promise to see the war through to the end. After speaking with Colonel Davis, Daniels decides not to return home. He finds Pierson drunk and attempts to convince him to take him back. Pierson refuses, saying he has no use for a soldier who disobeys orders. Daniels fires back, reminding him that Pierson himself ignored orders at Kasserine Pass when he refused to abandon his men. Taken aback, Pierson grows hostile, but Daniels refuses to back down. After the tension eases, Pierson admits he couldn't bring himself to leave his trapped men behind, though the decision cost him dearly. He tells Daniels to walk away, but Daniels presses further, producing his honorable discharge papers signed by Davis, then ripping them apart in front of Pierson, proving he's not ready to quit. Shocked, Pierson allows Daniels to re-enlist into his platoon before walking away. The next day, the 1st Infantry Division launches an assault on Remagen to secure the Ludendorff Bridge and prevent its destruction. The platoon storms and clears a tower before regrouping on the ground floor. From there, they charge across the bridge under heavy fire. Midway through, the Germans detonate their explosives, but the bridge miraculously holds thanks to Howard and his engineers, who managed to defuse several charges. The division pushes across the damaged bridge, then clears out a second tower, before advancing through trenches to reach anti-air guns. Daniels and his squad destroyed the AA emplacements, giving the Allies control of the skies and saving the bridge from collapse. The platoon pushes into a tunnel, wiping out German forces making their last stand. Those who survive surrender, marking the Allies' first crossing into the Rhine. As the captured Germans are escorted away, Pierson informs the squad of nearby POW camps. The men steel themselves, awaiting orders to begin searching for survivors, and for Zussman. Since capturing the Ludendorff Bridge, the 1st Infantry Division has been liberating POW and concentration camps across Germany. Intelligence finally reveals Zussman's location, a forced labor camp in Berga. When the squad arrives, they uncover the horrific atrocities Metz and his men have inflicted on the prisoners. Searching the grounds, Pierson finds tracks leading out of the camp, realizing the Nazis forced the captives onto a death march. Determined to find Zussman, Daniels, Pierson, Stiles, and Aiello press into the forest. Before long, distant gunfire rings out, Metz executing prisoners. Daniels races toward the sound, haunted by flashes of his brother Paul. He finds Metz standing over Zussman, throwing him to the ground and leveling a pistol to finish him. At the last moment, Daniels fires first, killing Metz before he can pull the trigger. With Metz dead, Daniels rushes to Zussman's side, finding him broken and frail but alive. Helping him to his feet, Daniels and the platoon carry Zussman out of the forest together. After the 1st Infantry Division returns to France, General Davis delivers a speech honoring their sacrifices and victories. Daniels says goodbye to his brothers in arms as they each go their separate ways. Aiello leaves him the same Michael pendant he once won from Zussman at Basic. Pierson chooses to remain in the service, sharing a rare moment of respect with Daniels, who reminds him of the day he tore up his discharge papers. Finally, Daniels visits Zussman at a military hospital. Zussman thanks him for saving his life and for keeping their promise to see the war through to the end. Returning home at last, Daniels realizes his old dreams of peace have changed. He is later seen placing his bronze star on the grave of his brother Paul, honoring his courage and sacrifice. Then, in a quiet moment of healing, he embraces Hazel and their baby son, Joseph Turner Daniels, named after his fallen field commander.